The city was quiet until one shocking moment changed everything. A crime so unexpected, so disturbing that even experienced detectives could hardly believe what they were seeing. And in the middle of it all stood Detective Charlie Hudson and his partner, Rex, ready to uncover the truth before it was too late. It started like any normal evening in St. John's. The streets were calm, the lights from buildings glowing softly against the dark sky. People were heading home, thinking the night would pass peacefully. But deep inside the city, something terrible was about to happen. A sudden call came into the policy department. The voice on the other end was shaking, almost unable to speak. Something horrifying had been found. Officers rushed to the scene, and within minutes, Detective Hudson was informed. This was not going to be an ordinary case. Hudson arrived at a location that seemed harmless at first glance. A quiet building, no signs of trouble from the outside. But once he stepped inside, the atmosphere changed instantly. The air felt heavy, and silence filled the space in a way that was unsettling. Polystapes surrounded the area, and officers stood still, their faces serious. Hudson knew right away that something shocking had happened here. In the center of the room was the crime scene. Stumina had been attacked in a brutal way, leaving behind questions that made no sense. There were no signs of forced entry, no loud struggle reported by neighbors. It was as if the criminal had simply appeared, committed the crime, and vanished without a trace. Hudson stared at the scene, his mind already asinged. Who could do something like a thief, and why? Then Rex stepped forward. The German shepherd moved calmly, focused, as if nothing could distract them. Rex wasn't just a police dog, he was Hudson's most trusted partner. While humans could miss details, Rex never did. His senses were sharp, his instincts always strong. As Hudson examined the room, Rex began sniffing carefully around the floor, the furniture, every corner. Something here was being hidden, something important. Hudson's eyes narrowed. This crime was already strange, but it felt even bigger than it looked. The victim wasn't a random person. There was something about the way it happened. Something planned. Hudson could feel it. This was not just an attack. It was a message. And whoever did this wanted to stay invisible. Hudson turned to the officers nearby and asked the first question that mattered most. Who found the body? The answer only made things more confusing. The person who discovered the victim had a sappered. No one could find them. And thought raised an even darker thought. Was witness scared? Or were they involved? The city outside continued like nothing had happened, but Hudson knew the truth. Somewhere out there, the criminal was still free. And if Hudson and Rex didn't solve this fast, the danger was far from over. This was on live. Beginning of a case that would lead them into secrets, lies, and a shocking truth no one saw coming. Hudson wasted no time. He knew every second mattered. The longer the criminal stayed free, the more dangerous the situation became. He walked slowly around the room, studying every detail. The crime scene was strange. Nothing looked stolen. Nothing was broken. It didn't feel like a random attack. It felt personal, planned, careful. Rex stayed close, sniffing along the edges of the room. His ears were alert, his eyes focused. Hudson trusted Rex more than anyone. Many times before, Rex had found what others couldn't, and Hudson had a feeling that once again, Rex would lead them to something important. Hudson crouched near the floor and noticed something barely visible. A dark mark like Simeon had dragged their shoe across the surface. It wasn't much, but it was a start. He called the forensic team to collect evidence. Nearby, Rex suddenly stopped, moving, his nose pressed against a corner near the door. Then he gave a short bark. Hudson walked over. "What is it, buddy?" he asked softly. Rex sniffed again, then scratched gently at the ground. Hudson leaned closer. Hidden under a piece of furniture was something no one had noticed. A small object, possibly. Dropped by the attacker. Hudson carefully picked it up using gloves. It looked like a broken piece of plastic, maybe from a tool or something worn by the criminal. That was the first real clue. Hudson stood up and looked at the officers. This person made a mistake, Hesod. That mistake will lead us Totham. Soon, the victim's identity was confirmed. The name caused immediate attention. This wasn't just anyone. The victim had connections to powerful people in the city. Someone who knew sensitive information, someone who may have had enemies. Hudson's mind raced. If this victim was targeted, then Tequila had a reason, motive. Hudson and Rex left the scene and headed straight to question the first witness. The victim's coworker, the one who last saw them alive. The coworker seemed nervous, their hands shaking as they spoke. "I swear, detective, everything was normal," the person said. "They left work late. They didn't seem worried." Hudson watched carefully. Elwes said everything was normal until a W in single quote stood. Rex stood quietly beside Hudson, staring at the witness. Rex had a special way of sensing fear, lies, and strange behavior. The coworker avoided Rex's eyes, stepping back slightly. Hudson noticed. "Why are you nervous?" he asked. "Is there some thing you're not telling me?" The witness hesitated. Then finally, they spoke in a low voice. They were meeting someone they didn't trust. Hudson's expression hardened. But before Theotenus could answer, a sudden sound came from outside. A car speeding away. Hudson rushed to the window, but it was too late. Whoever was out there had been listening. Hudson realized something. This case wasn't only about what already happened. Someone was watching them. Someone was trying to stay ahead. Hudson turned back, his voice serious. "This is bigger than we thought." Rex let out a quiet growl, sensing the tension. The criminal wasn't gone. They were close. And Hudson and Rex had just stepped into a dangerous game, one where the next move could mean their life. Lost. Hudson could feel the pressure building. The case was moving fast, but the answers were still unclear. Every new clue only opened more questions. Someone had planned this crime carefully, and now they were trying to erase every trace. Back at the station, Hudson studied the small plastic piece Rex had found. Forensics soon confirmed it came from a special type of device. Something not used by ordinary people. This wasn't a simple criminal. This was someone with excess training and a purpose. Then another shocking update arrived. The missing witness had vanished completely. No calls, no location, nothing. Hudson's stomach tightened. He muttered. They were taken. That meant the killer wasn't finished. They were cleaning up loose ends. Hudson decided to dig deeper into the victim's past. The files revealed something hidden. The victim was involved in a probate investigation of their own. They had been collecting information on Semi and Dangerous. Before Hudson could process it fully, Rex suddenly barked loudly near Hudson's desk. I had caught a news sent something from an envelope recently delivered to the station. Hudson opened it carefully. Inside was a single photo. It showed Hudson standing at the crime scene. Someone had been watching him from the start, and written on the back were killing words. "Stop digging, or you're next." Hudson froze. This wasn't just a case anymore. It was personal. The criminal wasn't running. They were challenging him. Rex stood close, alert and ready as Hudson's voice dropped low. "All right," Hudson said. "Now we find Yao, for it's too late." Hudson knew there was no turning back now. The killer had crossed a line, threatening him directly. With Rex beside him, Hudson followed Thelis's lead. They had an abandoned house on the edge of the city. Stepless was dark and silent, but Rex Bodie stayed tense. His ears moved, catching sounds Hudson couldn't hear. Step by step, they moved inside. Suddenly Rex growled. A shadow moved. The suspect tried to run, but recharged forward, blocking the escape. Hudson shouted, "Police, stop now!" The criminal pulled out a weapon, but before they could act, Rex jumped, knocking it away. Hudson quickly tackled the suspect, placing them in cuffs. Breathing heavily, Hudson looked down. "It's over," he said firmly. The truth finally came out. The victim, a dangerous secret, and Thekler had silenced them to protect it. As sirens filled the night, Hudson placed a hand on Rex's head. Good work, partner, he whispered. Another shocking case was solved, because Hudson wasn't alone and Rex never gives up.